I'm going to show you how to track insider trading activity in 3 simple steps. Now, insiders have a long history of outperforming the market. When I say insiders, I'm talking about the top executives at publicly traded companies, CEOs, CFOs, board members, etc. These people have access to all sorts of private information about their companies. Everything from future sales and earnings numbers to when they're going to release a new product, a new AI model. Maybe there's a merger, an acquisition, and everything in between. Well, these people often use this information to their own advantage. They buy their own company stock before great news comes out, right before that stock shoots way up, and they make a ton of money. Now, for the last almost 10 years, we've been tracking this activity and have had phenomenal results doing so. In fact, some of the stocks we've recommended to our members based on tracking this information have led to gains as high as 1,900%. So this is extremely valuable, and I want to show you how to do it. There are more than 11,000 publicly traded stocks, each one of them having multiple executives, so we don't want to search through these one at a time. So step 1 is going to be to use a filter, a stock scanner, to whittle this list down to only those companies seeing heavy insider buying right now. There's a few websites you can access this information. Some are free, some are not, some are good, some are trash. I want to show you those really quickly, and the one I recommend. Now, the first and the most public is this site, sec.gov, the home of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. You come over here, hit search filings. It'll take you to the home page of the Acre database, but it's not a lot of help. This is another option. The site is openinsider.com. Now, it's got a little bit more usability. You can select purchases or sales. You can choose which officers you want to track the insider buying and selling of. You can whittle the list down to those in the last month or 2 months, etc. Search that, but the results to me are not a lot of help because it does list them out here, the amount they purchased, what their position is, but you're not getting the whole story. You're not seeing, do they buy a lot? You're not seeing, is anyone else buying? You're not seeing, is this a big purchase for them or a small one? Do they have a good track record or a bad one? So while it does identify recent insider trades, you're not getting any context to them. Another site that does this is this one, Insider Monkey. You can again scan for insider trading. Click the insider, I did sales. I want to see probably insider purchases. But once again, we're just getting the individual trade data. We're not seeing the whole picture. And for reasons you'll see in just a moment, that can really mess you up and kind of trigger some false signals. So the site I prefer is this one. It is gurufocus.com. Now, this is a paid site. I think you can run a few searches for free, but to use the full functionality, it's around $450 a year. But it has probably the best stock scanner in the industry. So if you go here to Screener and click the all-in-one Screener, it has a mind-numbing number of search criteria. Most of this is based on fundamental data, return on equity, return on tangible return on capital. It's got market caps and price to book ratios and Petrovsky F scores and all kinds of other stuff. All we're going to do is click up here on the Insiders tab. This is the only information we're curious about. And there's a couple of options. I'm only going to use stuff in this left little list. And so the first thing I'm going to search for is cluster buying. So it is good when one insider buys. It's better when 2. If there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, those are that much more likely to be good opportunities. So I want to focus only on stocks where multiple insiders are buying. So in this case, I'll just choose 3. Now, that's good. It has taken our list from 11,000 publicly traded stocks down to just 287, just like that. But we can go a little bit further. You see, I also want to filter out the trades that are very small. If someone's buying $1,000 or $2,000 worth of the stock, I don't really care about that information because that is not a significant trade. If you knew something was coming, you'd bet a lot more than a couple $1,000s on it. So I'm just going to filter this down and set a minimum of $500,000 in combined trading. And so what we have here is a list of 111 stocks where at least 3 insiders have been buying, and they've purchased more than $500,000 worth. And the third thing I'm going to filter to is the date range. So as you can see here, this is a to and a from date. At the time of this recording, it is July 17th, 2025. So I just want to look at maybe the last 30 days. So I'll go in here and adjust this date to say the 15th, press enter, And now we've gotten this down to a far more manageable list of 13 stocks. 13 stocks you can dig through. So let's go through a couple of these really quickly. One of them here, let's take a look. We've got Lionsgate Studios. So again, click on the stock. There's lots of information here. It'll overwhelm you. Just click on the Insider tab. And the first thing we want to see is who's doing the buying. Now, the insider definition is, of course, CEOs, CFOs, vice presidents, official executives of that company. But the SEC definition also includes 10% owners, meaning a very wealthy individual or a ETF or a hedge fund. If they buy up or own more than 10% of the outstanding shares, they are officially defined as an insider. So they, too, must report their trades. And that's what we're seeing here. These 4 trades came from this Liberty 77 Fund LP. Anytime you see LP, that's limited partnership, that's a hedge fund. So I'm already dismissing this one. I don't really care what this little hedge fund's doing. And if you need further evidence, look here at the trade percentage column. That shows you what percentage of their total holdings in this stock this represents. And so these last couple, 1.5%, 0.2%, 2.4%. If you were very bullish on a stock and you were adamant that something good was about to come, you would increase your position by a lot more than 1 or 2%. So I'm going to throw that one out right away. Let's take a look at another. This is a stock I've never heard of, PMNT. This is Perfect Moment, okay? New stock, very small. Market cap 9.8 million. This is a micro cap stock. So again, we go straight to the Insider tab, and the first thing I like to do is look at these 2 charts on the right here. This is going to show us the by month, the insider buying volume in green and the selling volume in red over the last 1, 3, 5 years, depending on what you select here. And what I want to see is a chart that looks like this, where there's a big standout spike in insider buying. I want to see that the buying is rare and it's much larger than typical. And so the only other insider buys was this one here back in February of 51,000 shares. In March, there's 75,000 shares. And then in June, there's 2,692,000 bought. Big standout. And as we scroll down, we can see who's made these trades. Now, the bulk of them came from this one guy, Max Gottschalk, who is a director. I mean, he's on the board. He's also a 10% owner. And we can see the size. Most of them are not that significant. Okay, the cost column over here shows how much that trade cost in thousands. So 14,000, 24,000. But these 2 are pretty big. One by him and another by Reeve Benarin, another 10% owner. So he comes in for $507,000. This is a $300,000 buy, fairly significant. They've also increased their positions by 28% and 17% accordingly. So they're more sizable trades. So this is one I might take a look into. It's very rare it sees insider buying. These people who are directors and 10% owners, they do have privy to some good information, are buying decent size amounts of the stock. They're raising their positions by a substantial amount, much larger than they normally trade. So once I've identified a stock that looks interesting to me, I'm going to go to the chart and just see what I'm looking at. I want to see a couple of things. One, if the stock is trading at an extreme, I'm going to be more interested. So, meaning if the stock is at all-time highs and they're buying very heavily, that's usually a very good sign. They think it's still a good time to get in, because oftentimes they'll buy when the stock is cheap, not based on any short-term movement they're expecting, simply because they believe the stock is undervalued over the long term. And that could be the case here. The stock is dirt cheap down here at 31 cents a share. It's way off its highs, more than 90% down. So this is one you can either buy in here and hold and see if it gets moving in the next couple of weeks, or wait till it gets a little bit of momentum. So you might say, all right, if it gets above, 35, 40 cents a share, start showing some follow through, I might go ahead and get involved in this one. But I am seeing a pretty big uptick in the trading activity here. If you look at this volume chart on the bottom, notice how back in here, look at the volume the share traded each day. $34,000, $20,000, $5,000, $40,000, $28,000. Then we get $6 million, $27 million, $40 million, and we're still up in the 1.8, 1.4, 0.7 million. So something has changed. There's a big increase in trading activity. So this is absolutely one I probably want to dig into a little bit closer. All right, let's look at another one. Let's just take the first one on the list here, Asana. So Asana, going to the insider activity. Now, this one doesn't look as good immediately, right? We see the amount of insider buying. Does this month stand out in comparison to the last few years? No. Is it rare buying? I mean, not really. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other months they bought decently. Is it stand out in the number of insider buys? No. So it looks more run-of-the-mill. But we're going to dive into it just a little bit anyway. I'm going to quickly write this one off for one reason, and that is this trade percentage column right here. Notice these buys, even though it's 6 million and 300,000 and 6 million, 1.1 million, even they're big numbers, relative to what they own, they're increasing their positions by less than 1%, a fraction of a percent. So that's why the other sites I told you just can't look at that independently, because you might see this stock go, this guy bought 6 million. And then you go and look and say, oh, well, it turns out he owns like $700 or $800 million worth of this stock. So the guy that was buying $300,000 or $400,000 might be a far better trade because it's bigger relative to his net worth, his income, and his typical trade size. So Asana, I'd throw out right away. Still may be a good trade, good stock, but I'm not going to buy it based on inside information. Look at Theramune. Now this one looks better. You see the big spike here in July, much larger than other months. And immediately we can see who is responsible. This big $500,000 buy came from here, Gravitas Capital LP. Now, typically, that's going to be a hedge fund, but notice the position here. They're listed as the executive chairman and a 10% owner. So my guess would be the chairman of this company set up some sort of investment fund or has one for tax reasons of some sort to buy this. So I would still move through with this. Now, some of these trades are tiny. I mean, $1,400 from the director, $1,000, $9,000, but there's two that are decent. This $500,000 buy here, and also the CEO came in for $91,000. Now, again, we have to take this into context. This Theramune, the entire company, look up here, the market cap, the entire company is only worth $7 million. So when you hear CEO, do not think that this is some fat cat riding in the back seat of a Rolls Royce making $20 million a year. This guy, you can probably Google it and find out. My guess would be the CEO probably makes $100 or $200 grand a year max. So this is actually a sizable trade, and more importantly, it is a big increase to his holdings. Look, he purchased 61,496 shares. His new ownership is 64,000. So he only owned about 3,000, and then he came in for 60,000 more. This buy here roughly doubled his position. So those to me are far more appealing. And if I go back once again and look at the chart, this actually looks pretty good to me. So unlike the other that was just sitting down there on the lows, this stock is starting to show a little bit of action. We're getting some higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. It's also potentially forming a bit of a breakout move down here off the bottom as it kind of tightens up. So this will be something I'd absolutely dig into further. So that's kind of the top-down approach, right? We're going to take it from 11,000 stocks down to 10 or 20 or 30. We want to dig into each one of those to find the ones that are, in fact, what we're looking for. Things like cluster buys, first-time buyers maybe, big trades based on that individual and their income. And then step 3 is to just look at the chart and then do a bit of a deep dive, right? Once you've got one or two, like Theramune may look really, really good. So this is a small stock. It's $1.60 a share. It's got a $7 million market cap. I want to do my homework. So at this point, I'll probably just go to Google, look up Theramune, see what kind of stuff they do. Based on the name, I'm guessing it's a biotech. It is a biotech company. So I want to see if they have any pending drug trials on some of their big flagship drugs. Are we in stage 1? Are we in stage 2? When are we expecting the results of that? Could they be buying ahead of that news to potentially profit when the stock shoots up? And yes, this is a common occurrence. So I'd kind of go down the rabbit hole there, see what I could find. If I find something to turn me off, I might dismiss it. But if it continues to look strong, or I find even more evidence showing this is significant and there could be some big news coming, that's the kind of stocks I'll buy. So those are the broad strokes of my process for scanning for corporate insider trades. Now, I'm soon going to be putting out a new video showing how to scan for political insider trades. This means tracking the stock purchases of members of Congress and the House of Representatives, folks like Nancy Pelosi, who've made tens and hundreds of millions of dollars in the market. So if you have not already, be sure to click the subscribe button down in the corner so you get notified when that video is posted.